From the previous 7 videos, most viewers may be able to perceive the fact that the number of female members in the Black organization is relatively small. If you combine the members in the anime and the movies, there are 28 members, and there are only 8 female members, which accounts for less than 30% of the total. If you add the members in the special manga, then the ratio will be even lower. At the same time, compared with the male members, most of the female members' performance in the Black organization is not very good. Like Vermuth always failing her missions, and Chianti seeming anxious and not listening to Jean's orders. Miyano Elena had died years ago, and Miyano Akemi and Shetty tried and betrayed the organization. Kiryu is always being threatened with a gun by others, and she had disappeared since anime episode 581 and did not appear again until manga chapter 1061. Contrasting with male members such as Rai, Bourbon, Jean, etc., their record and ability are obviously a bit weak. Only one female member's comprehensive ability can compete with these high-rank male members. She is Curaçao, the strongest female member in the Black organization. Her appearance was in the movie The Darkest Nightmare. The reason why she is called the strongest female member is not only because of her combat ability, but also because of her special ability and position within the organization. In the past, she was a subordinate of Vermuth, but because of some accidents, Curaçao's brain accidentally recorded some unfavorable information for the organization. When Vermuth decided to execute her, Rum suddenly appeared and appointed her to be his right-hand man. This is because of Curaçao's special ability, colorgraphy synesthesia, which allows her to associate a color to a concept she must remember, such as the names of spies. After being brainwashed by Rum, she started working for the number 2 of the organization. The main content of her work is to sneak into other organizations to investigate. Through her ability, she can obtain a lot of information without using any devices, then reporting this information to the assassination team to let them kill those undercover agents. Generally speaking, members who can do this kind of work should have a very high position within the organization, even higher than Bourbon, and also having the trust of that person and Rum. When Curaçao's infiltration investigation was discovered, she easily defeated several police officers with guns and fled, and met Bourbon at the end of the corridor. From her battle with Bourbon, it can be seen that Curaçao is the female member with the strongest hand-to-hand combat ability known in the Black organization. She can even be said to be the strongest female character in Detective Conan, before Wakasarumi and Sedamedi appeared. Curaçao's fighting method is completely different from Irish's fighting method introduced in the previous video. He had hardly used any fighting techniques in Irish vs. Ran battle, and purely relied on his physical strength and power to fight. While in the Curaçao vs. Bourbon fight, it can be seen that Curaçao relied on her agility and techniques to make up for her lack of strength. Judging from her actions in defeating the few police officers, all of her attacks were aimed at the back of the head, the chin, and the temples, which are a human's biggest weaknesses. Kazami Yuya protected his head for an instant after seeing her attacking method. It can also be seen that these police officers are not necessarily weak, but rather, Curaçao is just too strong. In the match against Bourbon, it can be seen that her combat experience is very vast. Her first reaction after seeing Bourbon is not to flee or stop, but to speed up and kick Bourbon's head. Unfortunately, he got out of the way. The second attack on the head was also prevented, and she also threw her wig at Bourbon to block his vision. It's a pity that Bourbon, who is an A rank in combat ability, is a bit too strong. No matter how fast Curaçao's reaction speed is, Bourbon only needs one blow to knock her down. However, there was almost no injury to her after being knocked down, and she even jumped from a high-rise building's floor of over 10 meters, followed by a pole dance, which easily broke the world record for the high jump set by Javier Sotomayor. Don't forget that these actions of hers are based on the premise that she's wearing inconvenient high heels, so if Curaçao appears on this list, then her combat strength would be around B+. If she were to appear in pole sports, then she would become a legend. If she were to appear in the high jump event, then she would be the Kyokoku Makoto of the high jump world. Although her combat ability is not comparable to the monsters of the A rank, such as Bourbon and Rai, her driving skills are comparable, maybe even higher than those two. If she were to appear in the game world, then she would become the protagonist of the next GTA game. Bourbon and Rai even worked together, but still couldn't catch her, and the car she drove was still just an old model that was snatched randomly from the road, while the two cars of Bourbon and Rai were sports cars. In the middle of playing Need for Speed, Curaçao can also afford to be distracted and send an undercover list to the organization. In the end, Curaçao fell into the sea and was seriously injured. In this weak state, she accidentally saw the colorful fireworks of the Toto Aquarium, which triggered her colorgraphy synesthesia, causing her great mental pain and memory loss. In order to find this cadre who had lost contact, Vermuth began to act. At the same time, Jin led his team to assassinate the undercover agents who Curaçao sent in the message. They were Undercover Stout from the English MI6, Undercover Aquavit from the Canadian CSIS, and Undercover Riesling from the German BND. The combined screen time of these undercover agents was not more than 3 minutes before being killed by Jin's team. This has caused their position and work in the Black Organization to be completely blank. But there are many details and information about them that can help us better understand this organization. The first is Stout. As a member of the organization, he does not know how to speak Japanese and only knows English. It can be seen that although the head office of the Black Organization is in Japan, they still have many branches in other countries, and the members of the organization do not necessarily need to learn Japanese. In addition, Stout had a very good relationship with Korn before, which shows that the two of them had probably met in the London branch before, but for some reason, Korn went to Japan to join Jin's team. In order to better perform missions, Korn began to learn Japanese, which can explain why he has been so taciturn. Stout is the same in the organization, a serious, cautious member who rarely argues with others. On the other hand, Aquavit, like Stout, can't speak Japanese. He plays an optimistic, ordinary person in his daily life. He has a good memory and communication skills, and was selected by CN Tower as a tour guide to introduce the city to tourists. On the way to work, he was killed by Chianti, who had a grudge against him. According to these behaviors, it can be seen that the methods of this organization are very cruel. They will let members who have a certain relationship with the undercover assassinate them in order to confirm the loyalty of the other members. They will also interrogate the undercover before they die and force them to give out other undercover information. However, almost all the undercover agents in the Black Organization are very loyal to their organization and the country they really belong to, just like the other dead Black Organization members. So as a result, Riesling did not reveal the identity of Kitty and Bourbon even at the last moment, and was killed by Jin. Compared with the darkest members of the organization, Curaçao is as pure and kind as her right blue eye. She possesses superbly high driving skills and loves children. To be honest, she should be regarded as a peak version of Kiryu in the organization. In order to rescue Curaçao, who had recovered her memory from the police siege, Jin once again sent a helicopter over. But Curaçao not only restored her memory from before the accident, but also restored memories of the times before Rum brainwashed her. Rather than returning to the organization to help them kill people, she preferred to stay with the detective boys. So she began to betray the organization like Irish, reporting to Vermouth that Kidu and Bourbon were innocent, and she left the place where she had agreed to meet Jean while saving another traitor, Shetty. Jean did not see Curaçao in the agreed place. Suspecting that she had betrayed the organization, he began to attack the entire amusement park with helicopters again. In the end, Conan, Rai, and Bourbon worked together to severely damage the helicopter and force the organization to retreat, while Curaçao was crushed into minced meat by the entire Ferris wheel in order to save tourists, and her body was also scorched. It can be seen that she had the worst death among all the members. At least the other members of the organization died by suicide or burning, while Curaçao's body had no complete appearance. My comment on this movie is the same as that in the previous video. That is, the Black Organization is too bold, and they are too cruel to the cadres. Irish had already completed the mission, and the organization had countless ways to rescue him from the encirclement of the police. But they instead chose to kill him with a helicopter, and did the same to Curaçao. Repeat after me. The Black Organization is a mysterious and secret criminal organization that doesn't leave any trace of their every action. Curaçao risked her life to help the organization complete the mission and even lost her memory. But Jean treated her as a traitor because she did not appear in the agreed place, and he pursued her with all his might. Although the Black Organization in the TV anime is also very cold, the coldness in the movies seems to be too exaggerated. Members of the organization in the anime also often make mistakes, and Jean would also warn them of a gun. But as long as they did not commit a major mistake or have any resistance to the organization, their lives will be guaranteed, and they will spend a lot of time and money to save those members if they are caught by the FBI. If Kiryu and Vodka were movie original characters, they would have been killed by Jean a long time ago. Many people do not understand why Curaçao would easily betray the organization under the influence of a few children. First of all, let me explain that Curaçao was always the kind type in the organization. And let's just imagine the Black Organization as an ordinary company. This company does not allow any employee to leave. After everyone joins the company will give newcomers pre-work training to exercise their loyalty and expertise to the company. At the same time, in order to prevent spies from other companies from entering, they will monitor the location of new employees 24 hours a day. and send some senior employees to follow them at any time. After passing the training, they can barely be regarded as a low-level employee. The salary is unknown, but the job content is quite dangerous. You have to bring a gun at any time to prepare for suicide. Some employees can be promoted to project managers if they perform well at the stage and gain the trust of the board of directors. But their jobs will become even more dangerous, and if they're seen by other employees that they have contact with employees of other companies, or if they accidentally see the secret plan of the company's board of directors, it will be life-threatening. If they are lucky, they may only be brainwashed and then participate in more dangerous work as the secretary of the board of directors. In the end, they lose their memory due to overwork, but the company still won't let them go and wants them to continue to work overtime. In order to obtain the basic rights of workers, they began a plan to sue the company, so they ignored the company's orders. After they have made so many contributions to the company only intends to kill them because they ignored the order of the board of directors. Rather than asking why Curaçao would easily betray the organization under the influence of several children, I would rather like to ask, how did she not betray the organization for so long?